Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Just getting a few things started here. Give me just a moment. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of CDG TV. Before we get started, can I get everybody to please type a number 5 in the chat if you can hear me all right? For everybody that's watching, just type a 5 in the chat, please. Okay. Looks good. So let me go ahead and get everything started. We only have a few viewers at the moment, but there should be some more coming in later. So now I'm going to go ahead and start screen sharing, and we're going to jump right into the lecture. Now, really quickly, can I also get you guys to type a 5 if you're able to see my PowerPoint slides? Let me go ahead and share those with you guys. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and get started with the slides. Let's go ahead and start talking about what we're going to be discussing today. Is we're going to talk about getting a WooCommerce online store ready for the holidays. Now, what that means is it's already time for businesses to start getting ready for the upcoming holiday season. We're already at the end of September. The holiday season actually starts for businesses in September because that's when we're supposed to be getting ready. We're supposed to be thinking about our marketing plans, how we're going to be selling to the public, what products we're going to be focusing on. And this lecture is going to focus on WooCommerce. WooCommerce is a WordPress plugin that allows you to transform any WordPress site into an online store. It's very easy to set up. And for our first lecture today, we are going to be doing a live demo. I'm going to show you how to set up a WooCommerce website and how easy it is to manage one. It doesn't require any coding. The only thing you really need to know is what products you're going to be selling. You need to have pictures of the products you're going to be selling, and you need to know all of the attributes of the product you're selling, such as, for example, if you're selling clothes, you need to know what sizes of a certain shirt you're going to be selling. And of course, you need to know how much, obviously, you need to know how much these items cost. You need to know the individual prices for each one. So what you're going to learn in today's lecture is you're going to learn how WooCommerce works and learn the basics of setting up the platform. With that being said, let's go ahead and look at a demo WooCommerce website. I'm going to show you the steps of how to set up a site and how to add products. The only thing that we're not going to show in the demo is how to specifically set up payment processing, but I am going to show you where payment processing is and what types of payment gateways are available within WooCommerce, such as PayPal, for example. Okay. So with that being said, before I jump into the demo, does anybody have any questions so far about what they want to see? Is there just about the lecture in general, is there anything specific that you want to see in this demo? Please let me know in the chat. Just going to wait a few minutes, make sure that everybody asks their question. Okay, I don't see any questions, so can everybody please type a 4 to let me know that they're ready for me to show the demo? Okay. Okay, we're going to jump right into the demo now. So when you log into WordPress for the first time, this demo assumes that you already have WordPress set up. When you log into WordPress for the first time, you're going to see this dashboard. This is where you manage your entire site, such as where to add pages, and you can also add plugins to your site as well. And what plugins are, they're extensions to your website. Think of plugins. You could say plugins are to WordPress as what programs are to Windows or what apps are to Android or iOS. And WooCommerce is a plugin. Your dashboard allows you to manage all aspects of your website: appearance, pages, blog posts, and of course the plugins. So the first thing we need to do is we need to install WooCommerce. Right now, this is just a blank website that I'm using for a demo. So you go to your plugins tab and then you do a search for WooCommerce. And then it's the first plugin you see when you pull it up. So we're going to go ahead and install it. And then once it's done installing, you're going to hit activate. We're just waiting on it to activate. It's a little slow today. Okay, so this is the first screen you're going to see when you set up WooCommerce for the first time. It's going to ask you for basically for the location of your storefront or wherever you're based out of. Maybe you don't have a storefront. Maybe you're operating out of an office. It doesn't matter. This form is for you to specify your location. So let's put We're going to put United States, and then we're in Texas, so we're going to say Texas. I am going to use my office address. And I am going to put in my company's email address. And then there's a box down here. It says get tips, product updates, and inspiration straight to your mailbox. So if you want to get tips directly from WooCommerce on how to set up your store, as well as marketing tips directly from them, I recommend checking this out. So when you check this box, they'll email you some tips regularly. Then we're going to hit continue. And now it's asking if you want them to track data from your store so they could send you improved features and faster fixes, as it says right here. Now, you could say yes or no. It's up to you if you want to do this, but I personally like to say no because I don't think they need to track anything that I'm doing. So I'll just say no thanks. And now it's going to ask you, what industry does your store operate in? And it gives you some preset categories right here. If you don't see yours, you can say other. And then you'll type in what you sell right here. For the purposes of this demo, I am going to say electronics and computers. And we're going to hit continue. And now on this page, it's going to ask you, what types of products do you sell? It has physical products already checked, and this means actual products that people can physically hold in their hand. In this case, for the purposes of the demo, we're selling electronics. That would be computers, phones, computer parts. But if you sell downloadable items such as MP3s, ebooks, maybe you're selling PDF downloads, you could check this box too. If you're selling subscriptions to a certain type of service, you can check this box as well. And then there are also options for memberships, bookings, maybe you're doing bundles, and then it gives you options. It gives you preset prices right here. Maybe you're selling magazine subscriptions, or you're selling subscriptions to certain types of anything, really. Think of subscriptions where you can monetize. You could set them up as memberships. And then if you allow customers to book appointments with you, you can also do that here as well. Are you bundling products? Are you selling products based on tiers? Maybe certain tiers and levels have more benefits and features over the others. You can also sell that here by checking the bundles box. And then if you have customizable items, maybe you need to do gift wrapping, send out special messages, anything like that. You also have that option here as well. But we're just going to focus right now on physical products because that's what most people are working with now. And most of my customer base is only selling physical products. So for the purposes of the demo, that is what we are going to sell. We'll turn this off for now. We'll hit continue. And now on the fourth page, they're gonna ask about business details. So it'll first ask, how many products do you want to display? Now this depends on if you have products immediately when you start your store, or if you don't have any at all. If you don't have any products and you're just getting your store set up in the meantime, you would click on I don't have any products yet. Maybe you already have a few products that you want to get started with already. So you can specify right here, 1 to 10, 11 to 100. If you have more than 1,000, you have that option right here. So we're going to say I don't have any products yet for right now. And if you are selling on another platform besides WooCommerce, it'll ask you here if you are in fact doing so. For the purposes of the demo, we're going to say no because we're only focused on WooCommerce right now. And then this box that says I'm setting up a store for a client, you don't need to check that box. That's only for your web developers to check. So if you have a web developer setting it up, they would check this box. But if you're doing it yourself, you don't need to check it. And then let's look under the free features tab. WooCommerce has some free features to help extend your site automatically. So I recommend adding these free features because, for example, you can accept credit cards if you sign up with WooCommerce Payments. It also has a feature for setting up shipping labels. It'll also set the sales tax based on your state automatically. And then there's also some features here for email marketing, for Google listings and ads, and also to help set up Facebook for WooCommerce. We're going to turn these off for now because they do, even though they say they are free, they do have some monetized services in there that they don't tell you about. So we're going to leave those unchecked for right now. And we are going to go ahead and hit continue. We only want to focus on the free stuff for right now, not the stuff that involves signing up for Google Ads or for email marketing services like MailPoet. So the next portion, or the last page, I should say, is going to ask you about getting a WordPress theme. Now, WordPress themes are the layouts for your website, the overall look and feel of how the website appears. Right now, I have a theme already in use called Seo, and it gives you a picture and a thumbnail of what it looks like. We're gonna continue with my active theme. We're gonna just use this one. The storefront theme mentioned here is free. However, it's not the best in terms of looks or functionality. It's a very basic looking theme. So we're not gonna use that right now. So after you've chosen your theme, the next page that you'll see is a setup page. It gives you a checklist of what to do. And the next item on here is to add products. So we're going to add a demo product in just a second. Let me go over to Google. I'm just going to get a sample picture. I'm just going to say Apple iMac. We're going to pretend that we're listing an Apple iMac for sale. And we just get a picture of one. We'll use this one. We're going to save it. And I'm going to put it on my desktop for right now. I'm going to call it Apple iMac. And here's an important tip that I need to let you know about. When you are putting pictures in your website, give it a file name that has the specific keywords that people are most likely going to be searching for. So I am calling this one, I'm going to call it Apple iMac 5K Retina 27 inch. So when you give your photos the file names with keywords that people are most likely going to be searching for, Google will be able to pick these up. This is one way that Google can pick up the images that you put in your website. There's two ways of doing that. By adding the keywords in the file name itself and also in the alt text, which I'll show you shortly what that is. So you'll want to make sure that you put the keywords in and put dashes, because if you don't put dashes, Google's just going to see one long string of keywords and it's not going to be able to pick that up. So put specific keywords and make sure you separate them with dashes, and don't put spaces either, because spaces do tend to throw off searches as well. So we're just going to put dashes and put the keyword specifically. and capitalization is optional. So that looks good right there. We have Apple-iMac-5K-Retina-27-inch. That's good enough right there. So we're going to save that. Now let's go back to WooCommerce and let's go ahead and add our first product. We're going to click on Add Products. And then on this next page, we're going to say Add Manually because we don't want to use a template because they're going to have too much preset information that we don't need to work with. We're going to add in all the information by hand manually. And you'll always have more control over everything when you add stuff manually. So that's what we're going to do, add manually. And now we get to the next screen, which is the editor. On WordPress, the page editor, the post editor for blog posts, and the WooCommerce product editor all look identical. So this first box up here is where you're going to put your product name. We're going to say it's the Apple iMac 5K. We're going to say 27-inch 5K Retina, or we'll say with 5K Retina display. That's the title. This is the title that it's going to appear in the page, as well as in the heading on the main page, and also in the browser tab. We all know how in the browser tabs there is a section that shows the title of the page right here where I'm pointing at. It'll appear in the browser tab just like this until we change a few settings in the SEO, which I'll show you in just a bit. So we have our title, and then also our permalink. This is the URL, and these are important for SEO too. We have the exact product name in the URL. Google does look at URLs for keywords. It didn't fill it out all the way, so I'm just going to add the word display. The word display was cut off. You see that? We got Apple-iMac-27-inch-width-5K-Retina-display. I know that's a lot of dashes, but again, the importance of having dashes is to ensure that Google can properly read your URLs. If you don't have dashes and you just have one long string of keywords, Google's not going to see that. They're just going to see one long, endless string of words, and they're not going to be able to decipher what's in there. It's going to view it all as one keyword. So avoid these spaghetti bowl URLs. Make sure they look clean. So once you have your URL set, hit OK. And now we're going to move on to the description. Here is where you're going to display the most important aspects of the product. This is where you display your features. So we're just going to write an arbitrary description here. So we said that this is going to be an Apple iMac 27-inch with Retina display. So just like your text editor on WordPress is very similar to that of Microsoft Word. You have options for setting your paragraph, your headings. You can set your text color. You can do bold, italics, paragraph, justification. By default, when you pull up your editor, you're not going to see the full set of buttons. You're just going to see these options right here. This button right here that says toggle toolbar, you're going to click on this and you'll get more options for formatting. So let's write a description for the Apple iMac. Let's start with, it is a 27-inch 5K Retina display. And then we could say, for example, 32 gigabytes of RAM. And then we're going to say 1 terabyte of hard drive space, flash-based media, because a lot of the newer iMacs do have these flash-based drives versus your mechanical hard drives with the spinning tapes in them. And then we'll say includes keyboard and mouse. Now, this description lists out the basic attributes of the product, but it does not, is this in any way good for SEO? No, it is not. How do you make it better for SEO? That depends on the product itself. This depends on the content writer, the person who is putting out the product. When you're writing descriptions for your products, think about the keywords that your customer base is most likely searching for on Google. What are they searching for to find your product? You're going to want to write a nice description. I would say try to keep it around 300 words. Make sure the keyword is mentioned at least 5 to 6 times. And write a description that is compelling, that you know people are going to want to read. Don't just describe product features. Talk about product benefits. Talk about why your customers can benefit from this product. Talk about why it's better than anything else that they could buy. Don't mention competitors' products per se, but think about benefits. Always put benefits over features when you're writing copy for your products. And that's not just on your website. Anytime you're writing copy on social media, on brochures, on flyers, maybe you're talking about the products that you're selling on your live streams. Maybe you're doing a video review on YouTube or on Instagram Live somewhere. Focus on product benefits over features. And then make sure that when you're writing your descriptions, you put an emphasis on your product benefits. Write a description that is at least 300 words, mentions the focus keyword, which is the keyword that you want your page to rank for on Google. Mention it at least 5 to 6 times. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. We're going to talk about the SEO aspect, the search engine optimization aspect in just a second. So let's assume that you've already written your description already. Now we're going to add the images. So we're going to, here on the right-hand side, it says product image, and then there's a link that says set product image. We're going to click on that. Then your media library shows up. This is every image that's in your website already. To add a new picture, we're going to go to the Upload Files tab up here in the upper left-hand corner. And then we're going to select Files. Now we're going to choose the picture that we just downloaded. I saved mine on the desktop. We're going to wait for it to upload. And it is now in our media library, but it is not in our product page just yet. Here's one important task that we need to do next. And I mentioned this earlier. Earlier, I mentioned the importance of having the keywords in the file name. Here's the other place where we have to have the keywords, the alt text. What is alt text? Alt text serves 2 purposes. The first purpose is to help with the visually impaired people who may be viewing your website. They may be using screen readers. These screen readers allow them to see the text that is in place of the picture, and this descriptive text describes what the picture is. So that way, the person using the screen reader will know what is there. The text describes what the image is. But the other important purpose for alt text is for Google. Google scans your website for images with alt text. So if your alt text contains keywords that people are most likely going to search for, they're going to index it for Google image search. So the best thing to do is use the same keywords that you put in your file name. So Apple, iMac, 5K Retina, 27 inch. we now have a set of keywords that Google can index your images on. If someone were to search for Apple iMac 5K, there's a good chance that your picture is going to show up in the search results when people do an image search. But are you guaranteed to rank higher than others out there? Probably not. But getting indexed is the most important thing. Somebody will come across your picture, even if your image is not ranking very high. So we're going to set our alt text with these keywords. And on alt text, you don't want to use dashes. You do want to use spaces. And now that we have our alt text set, let's set our product image. And now we officially have an image to show on the product page. Directly below that is the product gallery. This is where you can add more than one image. The product image is the main picture that will show on the search results or on the list of products on your website. The product gallery is a series of images that will show up only on the product page. Maybe you want to show a side view, or maybe you want to show the back, or you want to show other pictures of the product. You'll add those images here. So let's go ahead and get some more pictures. Let me find a good one. Here's one of the side view that we can use. Let's save that. And again, we're going to use the same keyword structure. And look here, this example already has it done for us. When the owner of that website, or whoever is managing that website, took SEO in mind, they put all the keywords that they want to showcase, that they want people to see or even search for, because people do search by specs. They included the specs in the product. They included the specs in the file name. They were keeping the specs in mind. People do go on Google and search for example, Apple iMac 21.5 inch. Maybe they're looking for a 250 gigabyte hard drive. They included the specs in the file name and they separated them by dashes. Apple iMac 21.5 i5 being the processor, 2.5 gigahertz, that's the processor speed, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 250 gigabytes SSD, solid state drive, all in one PC. They took the advice that I'm giving you now in mind, and they named the file, they named the image with those certain specs. So that way this picture is already keyword friendly. So let's save that. Now let's go back to WooCommerce. We're going to add that picture as the side view picture. So let's click on Add Product Gallery Images. Let's go to Upload Files. Select Files. And let's choose our new picture. And then let's do our alt text. Same thing as before. Apple iMac 5K Retina 27 inch. I know the picture says 21.5 inch, but let's just pretend it's 27 inch for the demo. And this should be good right here, just for purposes of the demo. You can get more descriptive if you want in your alt text, and I highly recommend that you do get more descriptive in your alt text. But for now, just for the purpose of the demo, we're just going to put the same thing as we did for the previous picture. Let's add it to the gallery. You can add as many pictures as you want. Let's also find one more picture. Let's see if we can find one of the back. Okay, here's a good one of the back. Let's download this one. And this one did not have the proper file structure and the file name structure in mind. See how you have these long numbers here? That does not help Google. That does not help Google at all. In fact, I highly discourage using cryptic file names because Google will not index these as well as pictures that do have the proper keywords in them. Now, it is showing up on here on Google results, but let me explain why. that picture is coming from Apple. Apple already has good domain authority. Domain authority meaning that domain authority is a score that Google ranks on based on how long the domain has been around and how well known the domain is based on the brand. Apple is a well-known brand. So therefore, regardless of the file name, they still rank on here as number one because it came from Apple's website. So for smaller businesses, you don't have that advantage. Apple has that advantage because they have been in business for a very, very long time, and they are well known. People visit their website all the time. And organic traffic is also a factor in getting a good domain authority. A domain authority scores on a scale of 0 to 100. Apple most likely has a score within the 90 or above range. But anyway, let's get back to WooCommerce. Let's go ahead and save this picture. Let's put the proper file name format. We're just going to say Apple iMac 5K Retina 27-inch, and then we're going to put another dash, and we're going to say back. We're going to get a little more descriptive. We'll say back. Let's save that. And let's add it to our product gallery. And going back to domain authority, if you're a business just starting out, your domain authority is automatically going to be set at 0. You have to build your domain authority. And that's going to be a topic for another show. That's talking more about SEO in general. But I'm just throwing a few tips here and there so that way you'll keep these in mind when you decide to build your own online stores, or if you're currently working on your existing online stores. So we have this picture in. Let's set the alt text, Apple iMac 5K Retina 27-inch, and then that's the back side, so we'll say back. And let's add it to our gallery. Okay, now we have some pictures for the gallery. And then on the left-hand side here, this is Yoast Seo. This actually does not have anything to do with WooCommerce. This is where you take care of your on-page SEO, your search engine optimization. And again, this is going to be a topic for another show. But this is where you would set your focus key phrase. What phrase do you want people to search for your product under? And we'll work with this for the purposes of the demo just to show you how it works. Focus key phrase. So we'll say Apple. We'll say Apple iMac 27-inch. And let me also explain something here. If you use the word inch, make sure you use the word and don't use, for example, quote marks as a symbol representing inch. It's best to use words whenever you possibly can. So don't use symbols, use the word. So I said Apple iMac 27-inch. This is the keyword that we want this page to rank for on Google. We're just going to do a quick rundown of it. We're not going to go into too much detail about this because that's another topic for another show. We've got Apple iMac 27-inch. And then directly below that is the Google preview. This is a preview of how your search result is going to appear on Google on both mobile and on desktop. This is how you would expect your search result to appear when doing a search on mobile. And then if you're on a computer, this is how it would appear here. It was how it would appear on computer. It says, please provide a meta description by editing the snippet below. If you don't, Google will try to find a relevant part of your post to show in the search results. The paragraph directly below the link in your search result is called a meta description. And we're going to talk more about meta descriptions when we do our show on on-page SEO. But you do want to have a good meta description that includes your focus keyword. And look at this little tab at the top where it says SEO, and it's got a red face. That red face indicates that this page has poor SEO, and you want that to light up to be green, which means it has good SEO. Now, moving on from that, the SEO title, this is the link. This is the link in the search result. You want to have a title that includes your focus keyword, and it already has it here, Apple iMac 27-inch. But let's say when you're building your page, it does not have this title. It doesn't have your focus keyword in the title automatically. You can click down here in the SEO title box. You can backspace all these preset factors, and you can type it in yourself. Apple iMac 27-inch with Retina display. And there are going to be times where you need to do this. And now, directly below that is the slug. What is the slug? The slug is the same thing as your permalink, as we mentioned up here. You can edit your permalink up here, or you can edit it in the slug box, and we already have it set here. And then the meta description. Now you can edit that paragraph that's underneath your search result. We'll say Apple iMac 27-inch with Retina display. And then you'll want to not only do you want to make sure that your focus keyword is in your meta description, but also include something that will get them to click. This is where you can put something super compelling to get your audience to click on your link. Don't let Google fill in this meta description by scanning the page because you don't have one set. It's not going to help you. Put something here that has a focus keyword and also is compelling. We can say free in capital letters, shipping. Notice this bar directly below here, this orange bar. This is an indicator bar to show how strong your meta description is. Right now it's an orange because it is not very good. We can continue on. We want that bar to be green, just like with the SEO title. It has a green bar. We will say, buy from us today, local small business, no outsourcing. We're almost to green. It's still orange. We need to keep going. We'll just keep typing, contact us. You could put your phone number in here. You can put free consultation, something like that, something that'll get people to click. And now let's look at our SEO analysis. We no longer have a red smiley face. We have an orange one. This means that it is somewhere between red and green. It is not bad anymore, but it is also not the best. See all these green dots? We've taken care of several SEO factors with these green dots. We've taken care of several on-page factors that are good for Google. These red dots are ones that need to be repaired. And again, we're going to talk about that when we do our show on SEO. Let's move back into talking about WooCommerce. But I did want to throw this out there because I cannot stress enough the importance of having a well-optimized website. Now moving on, let's go back to the right-hand column directly below the product gallery. Here you can set your product categories. Categories are general, tags are specific. We're going to focus on categories for now. So let's add a new one. Let's call it Apple Computers. A parent category, that means it is the main category over several others. You can add subcategories. Let me show you what I mean. So let's add Apple as our parent category. And then let's add a subcategory. Let's say, oops, wrong one. We're going to say iMac. Then we're going to click this drop-down menu where we set the parent category. We're going to set it as Apple Computers, add new category. And then let's say iPhone, parent category, Apple Computers, add new category. You see how iMac and iPhone are now nested under Apple Computers or indented? That shows that these are child categories of Apple Computers, which is the parent category. And then you could even change one of these to be the primary category if you want. Like, let's say iMac. I know this makes no sense, but for the demo, I just want to show you. I made iMac the primary category instead of Apple computers. We can change that. And then tags. This is where we can put our attributes of the product. Retina display. We just add specific things. 1 terabyte SSD. Stuff like that. And you can add as many tags as you possibly need. Let's scroll down. Here's the product data. This is where we set items such as price. You can manage your inventory here. You can set shipping. And then custom attributes. This will be like your sizes and colors if you have different versions of the same product. And for the purposes of the demo, we're just going to do a simple product. So let's set a price. We're going to say $1,500. And then you can also set a sale price, and you can even schedule how long you want your product to be on sale. So let's say it is on sale for $1,300. Let's schedule that. Let's say it is on sale from today until tomorrow. You just click on these boxes to set the sale dates. And then here's the inventory. Now, if you want to do inventory, you can manage it yourself by checking this box, and then you can set the stock quantity. If you don't have it checked, the WooCommerce is automatically always going to assume that you have one in stock unless you change it down here. Stock status, you can say in stock, out of stock, or on back order. So you can allow back orders with WooCommerce too if you're out of stock and you want people to buy it and then ship it to them once a fresh shipment of said product arrives. You can set a SKU number here as well. If you have a SKU number for your product, you can just type it in. You can also set limits if you want to sell them individually. Limit purchases to 1 item per order. A lot of stores do that, especially if they don't want to sell too much of 1 item to one person. If you want to manage your stock, you check this box, and then you can type in how many you specifically have in your inventory. So let's just say 10 for this demo. And then here is where you can allow back orders. So if you want to allow customers to place back orders, and then, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, you can do that right here. And then you can also notify the customer about back ordering as well right here too. And then shipping, here you can set the weight, the dimension, so you got length, width, and height. And then you can also set up a shipping. We haven't set any shipping classes up yet, but you can set those in here. I'll show you that in just a little bit. Linked products. Do you have a product that you want to upsell or cross-sell with this one? You could do a search for it in here, and then so for the iMac, let's just say that we don't have another item in the database at the moment, but let's just pretend that we do. Maybe you want to sell a set of Beats headphones with it, for example. So let's say you have Beats headphones in your product database. You would search for it in here. And then if you actually have the page set up, you would see a link to it. You would click on it, and then it would list it in the upsell. And it would be the same process for the cross sales. So if you want to try to sell some additional stuff, create a few impulse buys, you could list those in here. Product attributes. Now, this is where you get more specific. So if you're selling a shirt and it comes in different sizes, you would add those in here. So let's just do a quick demo with that. So you would hit custom product attribute, you would hit add, and then name, let's say size. Values, you would type in specific values. Let's say small, then you would separate them by typing in a straight line. Now, this straight line is, if you hold shift and then you hit the / which is the button directly below the backspace key on most keyboards. Then after you put that line, you would type in your next attribute, medium. Type in that line, next attribute, large. And then you'll want to make sure that this box is checked, visible on the product page, and then save attributes. Okay, and then on advance, the purchase note, you could type, if you want to type in a certain note to send to your customer after they bought the item, and this would appear this would go out to any customer who purchases this product. You would type it in right here, and then the menu order. So this would be a custom ordering position on the shop page. Maybe you want this to appear as number 1 out of all the products on your shop page in your website. You just put a 1. Enable review. So you could check this box if you want people to allow reviews. And then this product short description. This appears on the products page on the search results before they click on it to view the full product on its own page, on the product's own page. There's your shop page, which lists everything you have for sale. And then when you click on the product that you want, then there's the product's actual page where it lists all the stuff that we're setting up now. But this short description shows up on some themes, on some WordPress themes, but not all, on the shop page directly below the result. We'll just say computer good for graphics and web design. We'll just say something like that. So we have set up everything in our product. Let's go to the top. So there's 2 things you can do. You can save a draft. If you see here on the right-hand side in the publish column, you can save a draft, which means it is saved in your database, but it is not for the public to see. Or you can publish it right away and it'll show up in your website. So let's go ahead and publish it. Now that we have published it, you will notice that the blue button that's once said publish now says update. This means that you can go back anytime you want, change anything on here, and then hit this update button to save your changes. You can even preview them ahead of time with this button at the top here that says preview changes if you want to see how it looks before you actually save it. We have published a product. Let's go see how the product page looks on the public end. I clicked on this link. So this is just a dummy website, no frills. The only thing we're setting up is WooCommerce. We don't have anything else set up, such as the WordPress theme. We have it at the bare bones minimum. But this is how a product page will look after you've listed a product. You've got your picture. If the item's on sale, there's a small box up here that indicates that it is on sale. It even indicates the original price with a line struck through it and the sale price directly beside it. Your short description, as I mentioned, appears directly underneath the price. The number that you have in stock is also shown here. And then your categories and tags that we've set are also right here. If you want to see different pictures, you can just click on them. Now, right now, it shows the picture by itself. It's on a separate page, and we don't want to do that. I'm going to show you a plugin later that shows it in a pop-up within the page, so you don't have to. It doesn't take you away from the page itself. Let's go back. Then your big description, which is where I said you should write your paragraph that is about 300 words with the focus keywords and product benefits. That needs to go down in here. I would even put the benefits up here in the short description, because this is what they see first. So down here, you have your description. Additional information shows your product variations, which was what we said for our example, which is sizes, small, medium, and large. And then you have a review section right here. And right above the everything, you'll notice these links. This is called a breadcrumb. It shows what pages you're on and what sub pages are under it. So home page, Apple computers is the page that this is stored under. Then we got specific with category, iMac, and then finally the page we're currently viewing, Apple iMac 27-inch with 5K Retina display. Let's click on Apple computers. So this is the shop page that I mentioned. We're viewing it based on the category. If we had other items, they would show up right in here. This theme does not support showing the short description on the results, so we don't see it. But there's our picture, product name. You see the price, both the original and the sale price, and a button to add it to cart. That way, if customers just want to go straight in and buy without having to do any reading, because maybe they already know what product they're looking into buying, it's right there. And you can even do some sorting. And we see this on many common online stores. Maybe not all of them have it on a drop-down menu like this. Sometimes they might have it on the side, in a sidebar somewhere. You can sort by popularity, which products are being sold the most, by rating. So which one has maybe about a 3.5 to a 5-star rating? You know, what's average for most of them. By latest, which products have you added into your store lately? And you could do it from low to high or high to low price. Let's go back to the WordPress dashboard. We're going to come back up here. We're going to highlight the name of the website, which is in the admin toolbar. This black toolbar up here is not shown to the public. It's only shown when you're signed in as an admin. So let's highlight the name of the website, which is right up here. We're going to hit dashboard. Now, before I continue on, can I please get a can I please get a 3 in the chat to let me know that you're good on everything that I've covered? And if you have any questions, please tell me. I'd like to hear your questions if you have questions right now. But if you don't have a question, you just want me to move on, please type a 3 in the chat. Just going to wait for a few more 3s. I see one already. And Pete, are you and your staff doing good? Do y'all have any questions for me? If not, please type a 3 in the chat. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on. So now we are back on the dashboard for WordPress, the main page. As I mentioned earlier, this is what you see when you sign into the admin panel of your WordPress website. On the left-hand side, you'll see various options, and you'll see different stuff here based on what plugins you have installed. There is one right here for WooCommerce, and one directly below that for payments and products. So on the products tab is where you will go to view all of your products. So if you click on products, this shows you a list of everything that's in your current product database. There's the iMac that we added a little while ago. So there's not much to see here. If you need to add a new product, there is a link right here on the left-hand navigation. under where it says products, there is a link that says add new. And if you're on the products page already, there is a button at the very top that says add new right up here. You can also set your categories and your tags and your attributes from here as well too. You don't have to set them when you're adding a product. You can add your product attributes, your categories and tags from these pages here as well. But let's go back to let's look at the WooCommerce tab here at the top. And let's click on that. So now we are back at the checklist. This is a checklist of steps that you have to take before you start your store. We've added our store details. We've added products. Now, the next step is to set up WooCommerce Payments. Now, because we're working with a demo, we can't really demonstrate WooCommerce Payments 100%, but we can take a look at it. Let's hit Verify Details. Because they are going to ask for your bank account or your PayPal. And since this is only a demo, we can't really show anything like that. So then it's going to ask for your email. Let's put the email that we use for the store. And then it is going to ask you to create a WordPress.com account. Now, because I would have to do this for specific clients each time, set up their own individual WordPress.com account, we're not going to delve into that. So if you are looking into getting a WooCommerce store and you want to use WooCommerce Payments, that is something that I will be assisting you with personally. So we're going to go back. We're going to hit the link down here that says to return. And then let's go back to the WooCommerce tab. Now you can add, let's go to number 4, add tax rates. So when you come up here, it is going to ask you to do if you want to use WooCommerce Task or Avalara. Now Avalara is a paid service. WooCommerce Tax is not, but it also requires a WordPress.com account. So we would hit continue setup, and then after you go through continue setup, it's going to ask you to sign into your WordPress.com account, as I mentioned. And then it's going to walk you through the steps of what state you're in and stuff like that. And then it'll set the tax rate based on your state. So and then down here, you can set up your taxes manually if you want. And if you don't charge sales tax, there's a link down here as well that says I don't charge sales tax. Let's hit set up taxes manually. And now you will come to this window here, or this page. Let's hit insert row. Then we have the country code. So a 2-digit country code example, such as US. So we would type in US. And it'll also give you a menu here to let you choose one, because US it's also searching based on which countries have the words US in them. So let's say United States. State code, this would be your abbreviation. So TX for Texas. Postcode or zip, that would be your zip code. So we'll say 77083. What city are you in? For the purposes of the demo, we'll say Houston. Tax rate. So now you're going to type in your tax rate. If you know what your state's tax rate is, you can type it. You would type it in right here. If you don't, you can Google it. The state tax rate in Texas is 8.25%. And then your tax name will just say general sales tax. The general sales tax rate in Texas is 8.25%. And then for priority, you can actually set, if you have more than one tax rate, you can actually set one to charge first over others. Maybe you want to charge the state sales tax in Texas over other sales tax that you might have set up in here. So we'll just say number 1 for now. And then you can even set a compound rate. So are you charging this sales tax on top of other sales taxes in your store. You can check this off, and then this will ensure that both this sales tax, this one that you're working with now, and any others that you have listed in here are all charged at once. And then you can also charge the tax on shipping. Are you charging tax on your shipping too? You can either, if you want to charge tax on shipping, you could just check this box. I highly recommend leaving it unchecked and then letting your shipping provider handle the tax rates themselves. But let's just keep it checked for now, and let's go ahead and save this. And let's see. Reduced rate rates. Let's look at these. If you need to set up reduced tax rates, you can set these up in here too, based on location. It's the exact same process. You insert a row, you type in your country code, you type in all the information related to it, the tax rate, tax name. It's the same exact thing. Let's look at zero rate. Are there places, do you have locations where you are not charging taxes at all? Again, it's the exact same process. You would add those locations right in here. And then let's go back to the tax options. So first I need to show you how we got here. On the WooCommerce menu on the left, there is a settings menu that allows you to come back to this option for tax options. So let's just, before we go look into that, let's just assume that we are pulling up the settings menu from the dashboard. So when you open WooCommerce, you'll see all these options. You would go to settings. And now you have a series of tabs at the top: general, products, tax, shipping. Let's look at the general section first. This is where you set your store address, and we've already done that. We've got our store address. And then you can also define which locations are you selling to. What countries do you sell to? Do you sell worldwide? Do you only sell to specific countries? Are you selling worldwide, but you don't sell to certain specific ones? You can set that here too. Sell to all countries except for. Shipping locations. Where do you ship to? Do you ship to all the countries you sell to? Do you ship worldwide? Do you ship to specific countries? You can also disable the shipping and shipping calculations if you need to, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. And then your default customer location. You'll need to set this up. You'll need to set up geolocate, so that way when a customer is shopping, the tax rates and shipping rates are based on their location. So geolocating allows them to shop based on their location. That way you don't have to worry about having to send them custom rates and all that. It's automatically set default by the customer's location, assuming they have location turned on. So you would need to set up geolocating. So let's go ahead and do a quick demo with that. And let's do it with page caching support, because people will be loading. They will be loading copies of your website that is already cached, which means it is saved in their browser to load at a certain way, usually based on how they viewed it the last time. It helps load the page faster. So I set it to geolocate. And then you can also choose if you want to enable or disable taxes by checking this, or coupons. And then you can also set up sequential coupon code. So maybe you have a coupon that is already set for the full price, and then there's a second one that'll discount the discounted price already. It's kind of hard to explain. So let's assume that you already have an item on sale. Then the second coupon will be applied onto the sale price, and then you can possibly add another coupon to even mark down the discounted price from the previous coupon. I know it's a little hard and confusing to explain, but you can do that here. And then you can set your currency. We have it set to US dollar, but if you're in another country, you can look for your own country's currency here and set it. And then once you've set all this up, we hit save. Okay, and then back at the top where our tabs are, let's go to the products tab. Now, the products tab is where you manage certain aspects related to, well, your store products, such as a shop page. You can choose an existing page on your website where you want the products to be shown. So we set it to the shop by default. And then you have some add to cart behaviors, redirect to the cart page after successful addition. You can leave this checked or unchecked based on what you want to do. Do you want them to go to the cart page automatically, or do you want to allow them to continue to browse the site? I'm going to show you a plugin that makes that much simpler. So we're just going to leave that unchecked for now. I'm going to show you how to make that process better. And then the placeholder image. Whenever you insert a product that does not have a picture on it already, there is a special placeholder image. It's like just a little picture of a thumbnail, like of a Polaroid hand drawn, something like that. But you can define your own placeholder image here if you wanted to. You would just copy the URL to it from your media library. We're not going to worry too much about this. Then you can set your measurements. What units are you working with? Kilograms, centimeters are set by default. But if you're in another country that uses the metric system, you'll probably change these units. Do you want to enable reviews? Do you want to allow verified owners? And this is shown based on someone who has purchased your product already. Do you want to only allow verified owners to leave reviews? I would highly recommend doing this. That way you're not getting a bunch of spammers pretending. Maybe for some reason you might have haters out there who just want to hate on your product to make it look bad. They never purchased it. Maybe they're your competitors. You can keep those people out if they've never bought your product. Product ratings. You can even base your product ratings on reviews. And I would also keep this box checked here too. That says star rating should be required, not optional, because that is what's going to drive the overall good image of your product or bad image, depending on what your star ratings are. I would recommend keeping that. Let your product ratings be based on reviews, and let them be required so that they show up. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's go back to our tabs. Let's look at the tax section now. So this lets you give a little bit more control over taxes. So for tax options, there's standard rates. We've talked about the different rates. You can manage them all up here again, but let's go back. We don't need to show that part at the moment. Prices entered with tax. So this is an important one. It's asking, are you going to enter prices on your store that are already marked up to include taxes or not? So you need to make sure you let them know here. So we already entered a tax rate, so we're just going to say no. We're going to enter the prices exclusive of tax and let WooCommerce do that for you. The customers will see the taxes on their invoices when they check out. And then calculate tax based on, we can do it based on the customer's shipping address, the customer's billing address, because you don't know, they might be in one state shipping to another. So you want to you want to base your taxes on accordingly. Do you want to do it based on the customer shipping address or on their billing address or on the shop-based address? Do you want it to be based on your store shipping rate itself? You can choose that here. Shipping tax classes. So this is a control that allows you to, that is based on the items in the cart. I would probably say just leave this alone. This is not really very important. Do you want to round up your taxes? Do you want to round it up to the next nearest whole number or per line? I would say do it at the actually that really means to do it at the subtotal level, just one tax rate for all the items in your cart, not for individual items. So I would say just do one big tax rate for the entire cart. Don't charge tax individually per item. So check this off. You can even define tax classes. Do you have a special rate that you want to charge at? You can do that here. Do you want to display prices in the shop with or without tax? I would probably recommend doing it without it. Display prices during cart and at checkout without tax. At this point, I would probably say do it with tax. That way the customer can see it. But if you want to avoid scaring them off because they don't like the total, they don't like how the total looks already, do it and exclude tax rates. And then do you want to do your taxes itemized per item on the invoice, or do you want to do it as a total for all the line items? I recommend doing it as a total, as a single total. That way you have one rate that is charging for every item that is in a user's or a customer's shopping cart. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's move on to shipping. So now you get to you can set shipping zones. This is where you get to where you can base prices, shipping costs on location. And you can manage different ones. So we've got United States set as one, and then maybe you want to add other countries on here as well. You can define what type of shipping methods do you want to have. Do you want to do free shipping? Do you want to do reduced rate shipping or one-day shipping? You can define those here as well. So let's add a shipping zone. You can get specific. Do you want to do it based on certain states, for example? Let's say United States. Texas. Zone regions. Now you get to pick specific regions that you want to get into. See how specific it gets by country? You can do a search. Let's say Texas. Say Texas. And do you want to get even more specific? Do you want to do it based on zip codes? You can do that here too. So list one postcode per line. So 77083 is one example. Then you push enter on your keyboard, 77077. Enter the next one, enter again. So you would add different zip codes by line. So if you have customers within these certain regions that you're defining, they will see the shipping methods that you define specifically for them. So let's add a shipping method. You want to do a flat rate. You want to do flat rate shipping where you define how much you want to charge specifically for anyone within those regions. Do you want to offer free shipping? Do you allow local pickup? Do they live in the area and they can just come by your storefront and pick it up without having to pay anything for shipping? You can do that too. Let's add this one for the shipping method. And let's go back. Let's go to shipping options up here at the top. Shipping options. So you can allow a shipping calculator on your page that allows customers to find out how much it'll cost. Shipping costs will be based on their location. You can also hide your shipping costs until they enter an address when they check out. Shipping destination, you can, by default, it is set to customer billing address, but do you want it to default to the customer shipping address? You can set that here too. Do you want it to always default to the customer's billing address no matter what? You have that option as well. But if you're selling nationwide or worldwide, you should have it set to at least one of these two, the billing address or the shipping address. It's most likely going to be the billing address since it'll be basing the tax rates on location. I mean, wouldn't it make sense to charge taxes based on the store's location rather than where the item is being shipped to, especially if it's being shipped out of state somewhere or to another country? Let's go ahead and save that. And let's look at shipping classes. So now you can define specific types of shipping classes. What does this mean? This means that you can group products of a similar type and then basically provide shipping methods and different rates based on these types of classes. So let's add a shipping class. Let's say IMAC. Maybe you want to charge a specific type, a specific rate for anything that is within the IMAC class. You have products that you want to charge these shipping rates specifically for versus other products in your store. We'll just say IMAC. Slug, we'll say IMAC again. That's the URL. And then description for your reference. We'll say shipping rates charged specifically for IMAC. And let's save that. So now that we've saved that shipping class, let's go back to our shipping options. Okay, we've got that taken care of. And let's go to our products real quick. Let's see. We're going to go to the one product that we have. We're going to open the editor for it by clicking on it. Let's make sure that we have shipping enabled for this product. So let's scroll down to the bottom. And let's look at shipping. So now you can set your shipping class right here. You see how I said IMAC? Now we can charge a specific rate specifically for the IMAC product. You can set this class. You can set individual shipping classes for any product you want. If you want to charge a certain rate for a certain product, you can do that. Let's go back over here. Let's go back to our shipping classes. And then we're going to hit edit. Okay, we have that set. Let's go back to shipping zones. Let's make sure all looks good here. Okay, that looks good. We've got specific zones here. Let's edit our Texas zone one more time. And now, let's say we want to charge the Texas shipping rate for anybody that buys IMAC. We would go to our shipping classes up here. we would choose iMac. Okay, that's already set. Yeah, that's good. Go back to our shipping zones. And let's look at our shipping options one last time. Okay. So now let's move on from shipping. Let's move on to payments. So this is where you would manage payment gateways. What methods can you offer to your customers who buy from your store? WooCommerce Payments, as we mentioned earlier, allows you to process payments using their gateway, and they accept all these major credit cards up here. Do you want to do bank transfer? Do you want to accept checks or cash on delivery? I highly don't recommend these because they could take your product and run with it. You can also add PayPal or Stripe. I recommend PayPal personally. PayPal is secure, and they process payments through their own system. They've got several layers of security. There's a link at the bottom that says discover other payment providers. So you can accept these different payment gateways as well. Do you use Afterpay? Do you use Square, Amazon Pay, PayPal? And let's look back on our navigation menu. We've already looked at settings. Now let's look at some other stuff now. When someone places an order on your website, it's going to go to this page here, the orders page, which is on the menu here. Anytime you pull up this menu, you get the orders page. Yeah, see, when you receive an order, it will appear here. You're going to want to check this constantly, and I'm going to recommend a plugin that'll help you keep up with this easier. Do you want to offer table rate shipping, shipment tracking? These are all paid extensions, but I can show you some free plugins that will take care of some of this stuff. Do you want to see a list of customers that are in your store? We'll click on the customers tab. So every customer that has bought something from your store will appear in this list. This is a new store, so we don't have anything to show. Their name, username, when did they register, when were they last active, their email, how many orders did they make, how much they spend, where are they located at, they would show up in here. And then down here, going back to our WooCommerce menu, we go to the coupons page. This is where you can set up coupon codes. Do you want to create a specific coupon code with a specific word in it? You would create your first coupon right here. So after clicking that, you would come to this page, coupon code. Let's just say grand opening. Coupon code is just grand opening. You would type it in right there. And then you can give a description of what this coupon code is for. We'll say coupon code for celebrating stores opening. Now to our coupon data. Do you want to do a fixed discount? Do you want to do one based on percentage? Do you want to do a sign-up fee discount, recurring product discount? You can do these based on dollar amounts, or you could do these based on percentages. So let's say if somebody buys up to a certain amount in their cart, then you can have this discount apply if it should it apply to them. Did somebody buy, for example, $50 worth of items in their cart? Then you can give them this code, and it'll take that discount right off. You can do, let's say, for example, fixed cart. They have $50. They have $50 in their account. Do you want $25 to be shaven off if you give them this code? You would type in $25. Do you want to grant free shipping? There's a box here to do that as well. Do you want this coupon to expire on a certain day? You click on this box and set the date that you want it to expire. If you want to do a percentage discount based on simply on percentage, then you would get rid of the dollar amount and you would instead type in a percentage. Do you want to do 15% off? Type in 15 without a percentage sign. Do you want to apply certain restrictions on this? Let's go to the left here. Do they need to spend a certain amount? Do they need to have, let's say, do they need a minimum or a maximum amount in their cart? Do they need to spend a minimum of $25 but no more than $50 for this to work? You could define that here too. Individual use only. Do you only want the coupon to be used one time only? You would check this. Do you want this coupon to only apply to items that are not on sale? Then you would check this box. Do you want it to apply to a specific product? You would search for it down here. Let's use our example, Apple iMac. Do you want this to exclude certain products? Again, you would search for it in here and it would show up in the list. Do you want it to apply to certain categories, or do you want certain categories to be excluded? You can type those in here too. We'll say iMac. Do you want to allow emails, basically? Now, what that means is, do you want to allow billing emails to be checked against when an order is placed? You want to make sure that when you use an email, that it hasn't been used already once before. So that's how it checks. Some people will probably use guest checkout in your website, and you don't want that person with that same email to try to take advantage of a discount code that they've already used once and had restrictions on. So let's go ahead and go to our usage limits. Now, do you want this? This is where you can set certain restrictions based on limits. How many times can a customer use it? Can they only use it one time or two times? Maybe even 5 times? Put a 5 if you allow them to use it at least 5 times. Do you want to limit it based on certain numbers? How many individual items can they have in their cart? So if you leave it blank, it'll apply to all the items in their cart. But let's say you only want them to have maybe 3 items, or they have to have at least 3 items or more to use it. Put a 3. Now here is where you define how many times per user can they use it. Let's say you only want them to be able to use this coupon code 1 time. Put a 1 and publish it. This coupon code is now good to go. They can take this code and they can start using it to shop. Okay, with that being said, we have finished our WooCommerce demo. We are going to move on to our second lecture. Before I move on, does anybody have any questions about anything I've just covered? I know it's a lot of material, but this first lecture is over. Now I want to know if you guys have any questions. If you don't have a question, please type a 2. But if you do, please feel free to type it in the chat for me. Just waiting to see a few more twos in the chat, then I'll move on to our next lecture. Now, during our next lecture, I will not be able to see the chat, so I will be presenting in full screen mode. If you have questions about anything during this portion of the lecture, please type it in the chat, and I will make sure to scroll back up and read what your questions were. Pete, is your team good? You and your team good to go? Okay, I'm going to move on to the next lecture. Okay, here we go. So we just completed lecture 1, which was our live demo of WooCommerce in action. As you can see, it's a very simple platform because it doesn't involve writing code or anything like that. But it is cumbersome because there is a lot to learn about, as I've shown you in our demo. Let's move on to our second lecture. So now we're going to cover some WooCommerce basics. Our first part of this lecture, let's talk about some optimization quick tips. These tips are going to help increase the user experience or improve the user experience for your customers. The last thing you want in an online store is to have an interface so bad and a user experience so bad that they leave and then they never return. They never return to your site or buy anything from you. They'll go to a competitor. So I'm going to cover some tips that'll help you boost your WooCommerce store, boost your WooCommerce store's user experience, make their overall experience on your website better for them, so that way they'll be able to complete their checkout easier and browse your store easily. So here we go. So what you're going to learn in this lecture, I'm going to talk to you about some quick tips, as I mentioned. We're going to talk about giving your site's visitors a stellar user experience. And then we're going to talk about some plugins or some WooCommerce extensions or plugins, whatever you want to call them, that will help boost the user experience and make things easier for your customers as well as for yourself, the store owner. So we've talked about search engine optimization, and this is just reiterating what I said earlier. You want to have a URL in your website that is search engine friendly. It's got to have the keywords that you're looking for. So taking a look at the example here. You've got example A and you've got example B. Before I move on to the next slide, I want you guys to tell me which of these two URLs is going to be the one that Google is going to pick up the easiest and is going to look is the most friendliest to them. Which one is the most SEO friendly of the two? Is it example A or example B? Which one do you guys think it is? I'm actually opening up chat in another window so I could see what your response is. Which of these two URLs is the one that is most likely to be found by Google. Which one is the most search engine optimization friendly of the two? Just type your answer in the chat. Is it A or B? I don't see anybody answering, so I'm going to move on and show you. The correct answer was example B. Why? Look at example A. Example A is just a bunch of gibberish. It doesn't have any keywords in it. It just has a number, a few letters here and there. There is nothing search engine friendly about that URL. Now look at example B. For example, if somebody wanted to search on Google for frozen pepperoni pizza, this URL has the exact keyword in it, frozen pepperoni pizza. It's got a better chance of being found on the search engine result pages. Both Google and a human person can read this. If your URL can be read by both the computer and by a human person, you're doing a good job. But even better if it has the keywords that you're looking for. Okay. Always remember to keep the important keywords in your URLs. Like I said earlier, whatever your products are, make sure that your product URLs contain the keywords for these products and the permalinks and the slugs. And I showed you on the demo where these are managed at on each page. URLs that have really long strings of numbers, letters, and symbols aren't going to be found by Google or any other search engines, and you'll have to rely on other on-page factors. And then you're going to want to do your keyword research. And I'm going to talk to you more about that later. We've also talked about adding alt text. I covered this in the demo. I told you what the two purposes of alt text were: to help those who are visually impaired who use screen readers when they browse the web. And it's also what Google uses when they scan the web for images to index. Never forget alt text, and never forget to have the important keywords in them. So here's an example. I've shown you an example in the demo already, but here's just another one right here. Look at that picture on the left. That is a picture of a bag of Doritos being sold on Amazon. I opened up the source code for the page, and I highlighted in yellow the specific image, the specific tag in the code that references this picture. The alt text says Doritos tortilla chips, nacho cheese, 1.75 ounce large single serve bags, pack of 64. So you get descriptive. I have the keywords, the most important keywords describing what the image is. And most likely, these are also the keywords somebody is going to search for when they do a Google search. They're going to probably type in Doritos chips. They're not going to search for all of that, obviously, but at least some of the keywords possibilities are in there at the moment. So now you see what the importance of assigning alt tags are to your images. Google won't be able to find any text that is inside of an image. Let's say you have a picture of, for example, a picture of a Coke can. Google's not going to be able to sense that the word Coca-Cola is on that can. So you got to put it in your alt text. And again, you got to make sure that your alt text contains the keywords that you want your images to rank for. And Yoast, which is the developer of the Yoast Seo plugin we were using earlier to manage our meta descriptions and slugs, they recommend doing this for 30 to 70% of the images on your page. You don't need to add alt text for pictures and graphics that only serve as a decoration. Maybe you have a a fancy line or something separating paragraphs. That's not something you need alt text for. And make sure, and this is just more reiteration of what I said earlier, make sure that the keywords that you want to rank for are in your page titles, which is what are shown in the browser tab, and also in the title tag of your page result. One moment, please. Sorry, was getting a phone call in the middle of the lecture. It was a spam call. But anyway, when you're optimizing your content for SEO, make sure that you include your location in your description and your title tags and your slugs. Because, for example, if you have an ice cream shop, for example, if you type in ice cream shop but don't put the location, you're going to see results from so many different places. But if you put a specific location, they'll be able to find it easier. So make sure that you mention location. We did a webinar several months ago on local SEO, and it is available in our channel for replay if you want to see it. And then you'll want to make sure that you write meta descriptions for each page. As I mentioned earlier, the paragraph under the link to your search result on Google, include the keywords and the location and a compelling reason to get somebody to click on your result. Otherwise, nobody's going to care. You're going to look just like everybody else. You need to be unique in business. You need to have a competitive edge. What separates you from your competitors? Let's talk more about your search result. So, are your search results straightforward? Are they easy to read? Again, are they enticing? I can't stop stressing that enough. Does your search result lead to a page that answers the question that the visitor was asking about? What were they searching on Google for? Is your page answering that specific question that they had an answer to? Again, don't copy others. Be unique. So look at the items. Look at the items on the search result. This is a sample search result optimized for local SEO for a fictional locksmith business called Quick Keys, located in the fictional town of Raytown. Look at the title. The title says Quick Keys, Raytown, Locksmith. Keys made in 10 minutes. Notice how the focus keyword, which in this case would have been Raytown Locksmith, that's what I drew a red box around. You'll want your search result to have the focus keyword, as I mentioned earlier, as well as the URL and the meta description to have it at least once. The red, you'll notice that it is in the title, and then notice the URL. The URL has it as well, www.raytownlocksmith.com. And now look at the meta description. We are the only locksmith in Raytown. So I have the focus keyword highlighted quite a few times already. Now, look at your meta description right underneath it, and I highlighted some important information in green. The portion that I have highlighted in green are the hooks to entice people to click. Let's read the whole description. We are the only locksmith in Raytown who can make keys for you in 10 minutes or less. First-time customers get 10% off their first purchase. You see how I highlighted the most enticing portion in green? It says that this fictional company, remember it's fictional, they can make keys for you in 10 minutes or less, and first-time customers get a 10% off their first purchase. Include that. That's how you get people to click. Give them a reason to click. Don't just say that you're another locksmith out there making keys. What's so enticing about saying that? Give your customers a reason to click. And now, going back to focusing on location, make sure that your location is mentioned in your title, your meta description, and in your URL. And that's how people find you. You don't want to get lost. The internet is huge. Your city is probably huge. You're probably in a spaghetti bowl of businesses all doing the same thing. It's a saturated market. So make sure that you do something to stand out and focus on location in your search results. I've provided you a link to a keyword tool that will allow you to do your keyword research. And we're actually going to do that on another show when we focus on local SEO and on-page SEO. So we'll come back to this another time. Let's talk more about optimizing your product pages. Make sure that you have breadcrumbs. Remember, I pointed this out earlier. That link at the top that shows the parent page and all the other subcategory pages underneath it, all the child pages underneath the parent, that's called a breadcrumb. And it's important to have this, especially on e-commerce websites, especially if you have a site that is selling a lot of products and you sell products from a lot of categories. You don't want your visitor to get lost. You want them to be able to navigate from one category to the next and from different products to the next, especially if you have several subcategories. Do you have subcategories of your subcategories? That'll get people lost easily if you don't have some sort of system in place to help them navigate easily. So use breadcrumbs. You want to have this to prevent your users from getting lost. You don't want something as simple as this costing you a customer or several customers, because if they don't like the way your website is set up, if it's not giving them a good user experience, guess what? They're leaving. They're going to go find another company that sells what they want. They will go to your competitors if they have to, but remember your customer's user experience. Keep that in mind at all times. Now let's cover some product page best practices. So we put together a product page earlier. I told you about the product description. Make sure that your product descriptions contain as much information as possible and that you can address all of your customers' pain points and any questions that they might have. Think about what questions your customer might have. Answer them on your product page. Don't make them go to an FAQ page and so that they can get their answer, because now they're having to jump from page to page and you just might lose them as a customer from all that jumping around. Take a look at this example. This comes from Custom Mass Houston. This was a custom mass website that we had a long time ago during the 2020 pandemic. We were selling custom masks at the time. This is not active anymore, but at the time we were selling masks. But anyway, look at the product description that I wrote. And if it's a little hard to read, I'll read it to you. Masks are made with cloth and are organic, antimicrobial, 100% cotton. They are washable and reusable. I've got washable and reusable in bold because I'm trying to emphasize on benefits. The masks are soft, comfortable, breathable, and can be used in any weather condition. The masks are also unisex, and we also carry sizes that will fit your children. And then I have the care instructions. We've all seen these care labels on clothes that have these symbols representing a certain piece of instructions when laundering them and taking care of them. So I've got the benefits of the product, and I've got some information on how to take care of it. Make sure that on your products you're doing this. Make sure that you focus on product benefits and think about any question at all that your customer might have. What could they possibly be thinking about? Make sure you list them right here on the page. Do not do it on an FAQ page. Think about any question that they might have and make sure they get an answer. If they have a question about something and you don't have the answer on the page, make sure they have the ability to contact you so that way they can get their question answered. And we're going to talk more about that later. Never, ever sell a product without pictures. Show as many sides as you possibly can, as many areas. Can you show pictures of your products in use? Look at this picture. Look at this example here. We've got a product called the Comfort Tee, and there is a model wearing the shirt, so it's being demonstrated. If it looks good, if the product looks good here, chances are your customer is going to want to buy one. Chances are your customers is going to want one. Make them want to buy the product with pictures. If you have happy customers, or if you have the product in use, this will get them to buy. It'll pique their interest. Show as many sides of your product as you can. Make sure that all angles are shown. Anytime you can show somebody using the product, don't miss out on that opportunity to show it here. And if it's a very complex product, make a video showing how the customer can use the product. Do a demonstration. That always works good too. Make sure you have the ability to leave reviews. And remember, I showed you in the demo where the importance of leaving reviews. I mean, if you have a product that is a hot seller and the customers love it, why not give them the opportunity to leave a review? It'll only boost the product better within your website, especially when they see that it has crazy amounts of reviews and so many 5-star reviews. Most likely, if your product has several 5-star reviews, it's just going to keep on selling. 5-star reviews have the ability to make one product a very hot seller and enable social media sharing. That way that people who are browsing your store can share with their friends, and that way you can see even more sales come in from people who are on social media. If one person spreads the word on social media, it's got the ability to go viral. So keep that in mind too. Enable social sharing. Make sure you have these buttons on your website that will allow them to share it and let the world know that way. Make it easy for them. Make sure the social sharing buttons are at the top or in a sidebar, and give them an incentive to share. Look at on the example in the red box. It says share in this page. You'll get a 10% discount. Give them a discount. Give them an incentive just for sharing. That way you can see more sales of this item increase. Watch your sales increase simply because the word is being spread. When you give them a reason to share, well, how can they say no, right? Make sure it's easy for customers to compare products. We've seen this all the time where you can put a check mark next to a product you see in the search results list, and then a check mark next to another one, and then you click on the compare button so you can compare features and prices. Make sure you have this in your website. You don't want to overwhelm your customers by giving them so many options. If they have too many options, they're going to want to know specifically, how is one product better than the other one? Does one product pale in comparison to the other one that you're looking at? And you don't want them to open the product pages in several different tabs, because now you've disrupted their personal workflow. Allow them to compare products within the shop page without having to leave the page. So there is a plugin here. It's called the YITH WooCommerce Compare plugin. It's mentioned at the bottom. This plugin will allow you to do just this. This will streamline the purchasing process easier for the customers. Don't scare them away simply because they don't have a good user interface that allows them to compare products or browse products well. Make sure that you have some system in place that allows them to do this. It's not worth losing a customer over simply because your user experience was very bad. Make sure you have simple, easy to spot call to action buttons. So look at this example. The add to cart button is the call to action. Make sure that your users can see that. This is a very, very important marketing tip for any site. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Maybe you're not selling products online. Maybe you're trying to book more appointments. Make sure that the call to action is prominent and everybody can find it easier, and that they don't have to dig everywhere to find it. Make sure you encourage your customers to take action once they spot your call to action. So look at the example again. You've got a dark button. It's got a dark color against a white background. The majority of the content on this page is a bright color, except for the picture, of course. But the white helps everything pop, and then the dark color of the button stands out against it. People cannot miss it. Notice that add to cart is also very simple and straightforward. You don't need excess wording on your buttons. The customer sees that it says add to cart. They know that's where they go to click it. Nothing more. You don't need extensive verbiage on your buttons. Do you offer tiered pricing? If you have a product or service that has more features, depending on what level that people can purchase it at, make sure you specify that up front. Display them in a nice clean chart or table. And this is also another way of helping your customers compare products easier. The example I'm showing here is from CDG's website, from our website here. We offer several packages that include different items. We put the pricing up front. We specify what specifically is included in each package. And we make sure that the names of the prices and the pricing stands out heavily. Make sure that it's nice and big. We're not wordy in what we showcase, what we offer. In the list of items that is being offered, we're straightforward. We say it's WordPress website, 5 pages. Don't need to say anything else. Search engine optimization. Simple, straightforward. Don't need to say anything else. You learn more about the details of these products after you book a consultation and we talk to you about it. But make sure you have good options for comparing. Tiered pricing is a great way to help boost sales, especially when customers can see that they're getting their biggest bang for their buck. Make sure you have a chat bot. Chat bots can highly increase sales conversions. Even though your product pages should be able to answer every question that a potential buyer may have, you should prepare to answer a question that they have that was not found anywhere on your website. This goes back to what I said earlier. Make sure that if they do have a specific question that they couldn't find an answer to on your website, make sure they have an option to get in contact with you. If you have a chat bot, all they have to do is click on it. It'll connect them to a live agent, and they can ask their question. Simple as that. They don't have to call anybody. There's a button. They have a button right there on the page where they can click on it, and they can get connected to a live person. You could even program your chat bots to answer specific questions up front, so that way they don't have to use up valuable time of your customer service agent. The chat bot can answer the question automatically. All you have to do is program the bot to look for certain words. You can even connect chat bots through Facebook as well, too, where they pull up your Facebook page. If you have a Facebook business page, that is, you can have a chat pop up where it can ask, how can I help you? And then that person answers it, and then the chat is then relayed to a customer service or to your customer service agent or to yourself if you're handling it all by yourself. Maybe you're a one-person show. This will help reduce the workload of your customer service team, but it's also important to remember that chat bots are not meant in any way to replace live customer service agents. Let them answer a few questions that a customer might have. That's simple. But if they have a specific question that requires a really complex answer, you need to get them to a live person and fast. Try to make sure that you make it easy for them to get to a live person easily. Don't make them go through endless voice prompts or try to direct them somewhere that you don't want to go. That's especially notorious with companies who use AI-based phone prompts where they ask you, how can I help you? And the bot keeps trying to redirect you to all these other places, but does not give you the option to connect to an agent. That's a very bad customer service tactic. Always make sure that there is an option to connect to an agent at all times. Encourage people to buy with flash sales. A flash sale is a type of sale that encourages you to buy right away. They run on a very limited amount of time, and you can easily miss them if you don't partake of it right away. You'll want to encourage and instill the fear of missing out among your buyers. Create a very strong sense of urgency. You could even increase FOMO even more by selling at a discounted price, telling them that if they buy right away, they can avoid spending more money on it later. Let them know that they're saving money and that if they don't buy right now, they'll be spending a lot more on said product later. The example in the picture here is for a tool store. It says flash sale, 15% off. Flash sale in big letters, 15% off in big letters as well. Select hand tools and power tool accessories with promo code TOOL15. There is your coupon code. And what's directly below it? The Shop Now button. Again, in big letters, stands out against the dark background. It's a white button against a black background, and it's not wordy. This promo works because it is simple and straightforward. Now, the only thing that could make that promo better would be if they had a timer on it showing exactly how long you have to partake of that sale. So now you're creating an even stronger sense of urgency by showing that this sale is about to run out. You only have so and so amount of time to get to partake of it. Use an exit intent pop-up. What that means is when someone is on your site and they're about to either hit the close button on the browser or the back button, the browser will detect that somebody is about to leave, and a pop-up will show up telling them, hey, before you go, partake of so-and-so. It could be a sale. Maybe you're trying to ask your audience to check out something. In this case, you can do it to promote a flash sale. Put a timer in it. Show them how long they have before the sale is over, and make sure there is a call to action. Again, I can't stress the importance of call to actions. If you don't have a call to action, how are they going to partake of the sale? Make sure you're using taglines that instill the fear of missing out. Notice the tagline at the bottom of the example here. It says, don't miss out. It's not here forever. Yes, pull at their heartstrings. Let them know. You're saving a lot of money if you buy right now. Don't miss out on this. It's not going to be around forever. If you don't partake of it right now or before the timer runs out, you'll be paying full price and you'll be spending more money. So instill urgency. And then here are some guidelines to remember when doing a flash sale. Showcase all the time that's remaining before the sale is gone. If you can, showcase the live number of inventory decreasing or number of units sold. So you can actually show how many, you can actually show a live count of how many are being sold or number of units left in your inventory. If somebody buys one, you can show the inventory decreasing, or you can show the number increasing of units sold. Can you compare your price to a competitor's, especially if it's a well-known one? Showcase that in a flash sale advertisement. Give that urgent caption like I showed in the previous example. Urgent bylines, like once it's gone forever. We hear those all the time on commercials we see on TV. What makes TV advertising different from online advertising is that on TV, there is no interaction. You just see the commercial and then they tell you where to go or who to call. When you're advertising online, you can give a button or something similar to get people to click. So that's what makes a difference. You want advertising that is interactive. You can't offer interactive advertising with TV or radio or billboard advertising. Online, it's much different. So take advantage of that and follow these guidelines. Remember to be upfront about any additional costs or policies that you have. Never give your customers a nasty surprise when they see additional charges in their shopping carts. Many, many shopping carts are abandoned. Why? Because of high shipping costs. Sometimes they'll see that the shipping cost is more than the item that they're buying. So make sure that you're upfront about shipping costs beforehand. At least once they know how much they're paying in shipping, they won't feel as bad about making their purchase. Whenever you possibly can, try to offer free shipping. Now, don't just jump in and offer free shipping. This is going to involve looking at your cost of goods sold. You might have to mark up your prices on your products to truly make a profit. Because if you're selling products and offering free shipping, you have to pay for the shipping up out of your own pocket. And then there goes your profit right then and there. So make sure you're financially able to do that before you even offer free shipping. Reevaluate your pricing strategy, look at your MSRPs, and then of course look at your costs of goods sold. And then if you can determine at what pricing point you can sell and offer free shipping, go ahead and go for it. Never just offer free shipping, because you do have to pay for that shipping cost out of pocket, and it'll eat all your profit up. Basically, you've given the item away. Remember that when you charge additional fees for shipping, gift wrapping, any type of merchant fees, just make sure that you're upfront about them. Be as transparent as possible. Don't hide that from your customers. Let them know. I've been to stores where they have a sign taped to the credit card machine saying that if you spend less than $5, a certain cost will be applied to credit card transactions. That's to cover the processing fees. Anytime you have additional charges, specify them on your product pages, build a customer service page, or put it anywhere up front. A lot of websites do have customer service pages where they address these fees. And then use this exact same strategy if you're offering freebies with your purchases. This will help increase more sales. The most attractive word in marketing is free, but use it wisely. Don't overuse it. Remember, some people or some companies abuse the word free. As I showed you earlier in the example, they said they were offering free WooCommerce extensions, but it's really for a free trial, not necessarily for the free plugin. So use this word sparingly. Don't use it to deceive people. When you say free, make sure you really mean free. Don't just use it to bait people in. Make sure that your website has these trust seals on them. Let them know that you are, in fact, using a secure server. We've all seen these security seals on websites all the time. And this helps instill a sense of security that any credit card information or other pieces of personal information being processed through your website is safe, and that they don't have to worry about the information being compromised and stolen by hackers. But remember, don't just place these seals on your website to fool somebody. Make sure your website is actually secure. Placing these seals in your website does not mean your site is automatically safe. Make sure you have an SSL certificate installed, and never run an online store without SSL. An SSL certificate is basically a layer of security that encrypts information being processed through your website. And let me show you what it looks like. Many of us probably never look at the address bar, but if you see that little green padlock and HTTPS next to the URL, the website you're browsing, that indicates that your website has an SSL certificate and that you can feel safe filling out forms for credit card information and making purchases there. Now, another important thing about SSL certificates is that Google does use them as a ranking factor for search engine optimization. If your website does not have SSL, not only are you putting all your customers' information at risk, but Google might start blacklisting your website. In fact, they will. They will start pushing it further and further down the results until they eventually remove it altogether. So make sure that your online store has that green padlock. And don't even open your online store to the public if it doesn't. We are now in the second half of our lecture, and I'm going to go ahead and stop the lecture here. We will continue on with lecture 2 and 3 on Wednesday. We've covered a lot of information, and I don't want to overwhelm everybody too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I'm going to save the second half of our lecture for Wednesday. The time for said stream will be announced tomorrow. So now I'm going to take this time to answer questions and any other concerns that anyone might have. Does anybody have any opinions? First of all, what did everybody think about today's lectures? What stood out to you? Is there anything that you wanted to cover that I did not cover yet? So please tell me, what did y'all think? I want to know. I am watching the chat for your questions, comments, or concerns. So overall, what did everybody think about today's stream? I'm not seeing any answers in the chat. Feel free to say whatever you want. Feel free to participate. Well, if nobody has any questions or concerns, I'm going to go ahead and end. I thank you guys for attending today's stream. We will continue with the rest of our lectures on Wednesday. Please make sure you have post notifications turned on. And also please follow us on our Instagram page. I will be posting an announcement for the second half of our lecture series. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you'll have a great day.